Hello and welcome to the most important scale system in jazz guitar. Hi, I'm Mike Hayes, and in this session we're going to present the concept of viewing the guitar fingerboard as an open road. So rather than thinking in terms of scale patterns and fingering patterns, we want the ability to move freely all over the fingerboard. And as a byproduct of studying this system, you'll notice an increased fluency and confidence in your overall guitar technique. You can also use these studies as reading studies to practice your sight reading all over the neck of the guitar. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now you're probably wondering, what scale are we studying? Well, as you'll see, as we move through this scale system series, this system can be converted into any scale that you'd like to play. For this session, we're going to be working on the C major diatonic scale, which essentially is the white notes on a piano. Now imagine how easy it would be to go to a piano keyboard and play a series of white notes all over the keyboard. However, when it comes to the guitar fingerboard, without the proper training, it's not an easy task at all to move all over the guitar fingerboard playing, say, a series of eighth notes. So that's what this session is all about. Throughout the scale practice exercises in this session, I'll be using a backing track. The backing track will consist of a C major 7th sustained for 4 beats, then moving to a D minor 11th, again sustained for 4 beats. Now, apart from practicing along with me in this video, if you'd like to practice along with a specially prepared 10-minute backing track so you can extend your studies and your practice time, I've included a link in the top right-hand corner of this video, and you'll see it there now. That way you'll be able to customize your own practice sessions. Our first project will be to play a series of uninterrupted eighth notes. No slides, no bends, no stopping, just a series of eighth notes. And we call this type of playing melodic continuity, which is a foundation study for improvisation. Now the reason why we're doing this is so that we can build up a reliable, solid jazz guitar technique. If we look at, say, students of other instruments such as the piano and violin, these students inherit a long tradition of disciplined training regimes, and their beginning violin studies or piano studies are made up of a seemingly endless series of uninterrupted eighth notes or 16th notes or maybe triplets. The idea is that it's the one type of consistent rhythm throughout the entire exercise. Here's an example of a violin study piece. As you'll notice, it's a series of 16th notes throughout the entire exercise. Okay, time for us to get started. We're going to practice the fingering pattern that you see on the screen at the moment. These notes are all in the key of C, and we're going to play the exercise through 4 times. Here goes. you've just played that scale pattern through 4 times, if you're practicing along with the backing track goes for 10 minutes, so you could practice that scale through many more times. Now please keep in mind at this stage all we're wanting to do is to play a series of eighth notes. We're not after chord tones or anything like that at all. We're not worried about that at all. We just want to keep this constant momentum going for the duration of the exercise. I'm sure you noticed that all the dots in the fingering pattern that we just practiced were marked in red. For this next fingering pattern, all the dots will be marked in blue. And I'll explain why in just a moment. Let's practice pattern 2. Okay, it's time to combine both fingering patterns. We'll begin by playing the fingering pattern in red, going all the way up, that's the first fingering pattern that we played, all the way up to the note B on the first string, which is the upper limit of that fingering pattern. Then we're going to go from the B note up to the note C and then descend using the notes that are indicated in blue. That's from our second fingering pattern. Then we're going to come right down to string 6. And then when we arrive at the note G, we're then going to move back to the note F so that we'll be able to start again on the first fingering pattern. So in effect what we're wanting to do is to create an endless loop, going up fingering pattern number 1, linking it to fingering pattern number 2 on the first string, connecting that B to the C, then playing a descending scale pattern, that's the blue notes. When we arrive at the note G at the 3rd fret on string 6, we're then going to move back to the note F so that we can again play the ascending pattern. And on the diagram that you'll see in front of you at the moment, you'll see that many of the notes are marked in half red and half blue. And this is to indicate the notes that are common to both fingering patterns. So this is where the 2 scale patterns are overlaid. There's a lot of notes that are common to both patterns. Okay, let's practice this combination of fingering 1 and fingering 2. And remember what we're doing is playing all natural notes, no sharps or flats. Here goes. Time for a quick review to see what we've achieved up to this point. Apart from developing our technique on the guitar, we're also developing our ability to concentrate and focus. We're developing several levels of listening. There's the beat provided by the drums, and we're also aware of the harmony provided by the rhythm part. At the same time, we're keeping track of where we are in the various scale patterns. We're also developing the ability of free choice on the guitar. And by that I mean, when you have a musical phrase, you will decide where you play it on the fretboard, depending on the musical situation. I'll give you a couple of examples here just to start the ball rolling. My first example will be a C major scale. And with the skills that we've learnt in this session up to this point, we'll be able to play this C scale two ways. And of course, there's many other ways that you can do this. However, I'm just going to use the information that we've covered so far. Let's have a listen. So I'm going to play the C scale two different ways. When you listen to these two examples, they are the exact same pitch, but the scale has a different tone because of where we're playing it on the guitar. And by that I mean which strings we're choosing to play the notes on. Let's have a listen. Did you hear the subtle difference in the tone of the two different scales? This is a very important skill to have as a guitarist because it allows you to blend in with various instruments and different musical situations. I'll give you another example which lies outside of the scope of the work that we've done in this session, but I'd just like you to see where all this is going. Here's a little musical phrase, and what I've done here is just simply play the first four notes in a C minor scale. That's C, D, E flat, F. And then I've done exactly the same thing, only a tone lower. So now I'm playing the first four notes of a B flat minor scale. B flat, C, D flat, E flat. And then once again, I'm playing the same phrase a tone lower again. So this time it's the first four notes in an A flat minor scale. A flat, B flat, B natural, D flat. And now what I'm going to do is play this phrase four different ways on the guitar. So you can hear the difference in the tone that is produced when you play musical lines on different strings. As far as where I'd play this particular phrase, it would depend on the instrument that I'm playing with. It might be a vocalist, it might be a flute, it could be a saxophone, and so on. Where I choose to play the music will depend on the musical setting that I'm playing in and how I can get the best blend. It's the same situation when you're working in a guitar ensemble. So, in summary, to get the best musical result, it's important not to just simply play everything in the one fingering pattern. We need to be able to adapt and play all over the guitar fingerboard with the focus being on the best possible musical result. Here we go. Well, that's it for this session, folks. We'll be continuing our work on the jazz scale system in our next video. In the meantime, if you like the type of things that we're doing here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notifications bell. That way you won't miss out on any future lessons. And as always, I look forward to catching up with you again next time. Bye for now.